order to breathe, you have to be creative. And one really doesn't exist without the other. So each day I go into the studio because I like breathing, and it's just a symbiotic relationship. I mean, the reason that one creates, at least the reason I think one creates, is to figure out something about one's world. With every piece it's different. Sometimes the process begins with a drawing. It's never a drawing of the actual finished piece, because even if you draw the whole thing and figure out every single little increase and decrease when I'm crocheting, one has to respond to the shape as it takes form. And often the form varies from what the drawing is, because the materials have a personality of their own. The last 10 years has been a really big turning point for me. I started out as a painter and a printmaker, and somewhere around the year 1999, I moved into a more three-dimensional approach to the printmaking and the painting. And that three-dimensional approach began to drop out the printmaking and the painting and develop the three-dimensional crocheting. I've learned that there are a lot of challenges, and you don't get through life without those challenges and facing them. And I've learned that to go from being faced with a challenge to resolving that challenge and moving forward, and that's the piece that's really important, is the moving forward. It takes courage. I think I'm most proud of the fact that I have kept at my craft. I have believed in myself and really fought through all of the stumbling blocks that exist when you're trying to build a career in the arts. My grandson, who was about 6 at the time, he walked into a show and he saw a piece that I made called Community, and it sits on the floor, and it's a very large piece, and these kids have been around my art forever, and they've interacted with it and everything. But he walked into the room and his little mouth dropped open, and he said, "I always knew Grandma was an artist, but I didn't know her work was so amazing." Integration is ideas being integrated and coming together, materials being integrated and coming together, and the viewer being integrated into understanding the piece. What I bring to the piece and where it comes from within me is one thing. The viewer has a whole different set of backgrounds to bring to it, a whole different set of ideas to bring to it. I'm hoping that they can get excited about the fact that they can touch this work, that being in a museum, they do not have to follow the hands-off policy that usually goes in a museum, that they will be able to move themselves in and around some of the pieces, that they will be able to, in one part of the exhibit, which is a total interaction in the studio, a piece that's called The Studio, that they will be able to get excited about the materials, about touching the materials, about creating something out of their own sensibilities. I just want them to show up to the party and have a good time.